In 1973, the price of a barrel of crude oil quadrupled in less than 90 days. Petrol stations across Britain ran dry. Queues stretched for miles. The government imposed a 50 miles per hour speed limit on every motorway in the country. And within 18 months, an entire generation of small British cars began disappearing from the roads. Not because people stopped wanting them, because the economics of building them collapsed overnight. That was the first oil shock, and it nearly killed British Leyland, Hillman, and half the manufacturers you have never heard of because they did not survive long enough to be remembered. Now it is happening again. Only this time, the shock is not coming from the Middle East. It is coming from inside the industry itself, and the small cars it will destroy are the ones sitting in showrooms right now. Over the next few minutes, we are going to trace exactly how rising oil prices, tightening emissions regulations, and a quiet restructuring of the global supply chain are converging to make small cars economically impossible to build in the United Kingdom. We will look at the engineering. We will follow the money. We will talk to the people whose livelihoods depend on factories that are already scaling down production. But here is what will really unsettle you. By the end of this video, you will understand that the death of the small British car is not an accident. It is a calculated retreat. The manufacturers know exactly what they are doing, and the oil shock is just the excuse they have been waiting for. To understand why small cars are vulnerable, you need to understand margins. A large sport utility vehicle sold in the United Kingdom generates an average profit of roughly £4,000 per unit. A small hatchback, something like a Vauxhall Corsa or a Ford Fiesta, generates between £200 and £400, sometimes less, sometimes nothing at all. That margin has been shrinking for over a decade. Every new Euro emissions standard adds cost. Euro 6D required selective catalytic reduction systems, particulate filters, and real driving emissions compliance. For a large vehicle that sells for £35,000, absorbing an extra £800 in emissions hardware is manageable. For a small car that retails at £14,000, it is devastating. And Euro 7, the standard currently being finalized in Brussels, will make it worse. The proposed limits on nitrogen oxide and particulate emissions are so tight that engineers at multiple manufacturers have privately admitted they cannot meet them with internal combustion engines in the segment below £15,000 without selling at a loss. But regulations are just the pressure. The oil shock is the trigger, and what it has already done to one family in the West Midlands tells you everything about where this is heading. James and Sarah Hargreaves live in Coventry. He worked at the Ellesmere port plant for 11 years. When Stellantis announced in 2021 that the plant would transition exclusively to electric van production, James was offered retraining. He accepted. 6 months later, his position was made redundant anyway. The electric line required 40% fewer assembly workers than the combustion line it replaced. Sarah still drives a 2017 Vauxhall Corsa. It costs her £62 a week in petrol at current prices. 2 years ago, it cost £39. The car is worth less than £2,000 on the second-hand market. A replacement, even a used one, would cost her more than she can finance. They are trapped. The car is too expensive to run, too cheap to sell. And the replacement that should exist, an affordable, efficient, small car, is being quietly discontinued across the industry. But the Hargreaves family's situation is not just personal misfortune. It is a symptom of something structural. And this is where it gets far more calculated than most people realize. The oil shock does not just raise petrol prices. It reshapes what manufacturers choose to build. And right now, every major car maker operating in the United Kingdom is making the same choice: abandon the bottom of the market. Ford killed the Fiesta in 2023. The best-selling car in British history. Gone. Not because nobody wanted it, because Ford could not make money building it under current conditions. The Fiesta's replacement is not another small car. It is a crossover. A slightly larger, slightly heavier vehicle that sells for £5,000 more and generates 3 times the profit. Vauxhall is doing the same thing. The Corsa will transition to a purely electric platform by 2026. The electric version costs roughly £10,000 more than the outgoing petrol model. For the millions of British drivers who depend on cheap, small, combustion-powered cars, there is no replacement. There is just a gap. Fiat has pulled the Punto. Renault has killed the Twingo. Volkswagen has signaled that the next Polo may be the last. Across Europe, the small car segment is being systematically dismantled. And here is where the cynicism becomes almost elegant. Manufacturers do not want to sell cheap cars. They never have. Small cars exist because regulations and market competition forced them to. The moment the economics shift, the manufacturers retreat upmarket. The oil shock provides the perfect cover. They can blame fuel costs, blame supply chains, blame emissions targets. But the truth is simpler. Small cars were never profitable enough to fight for. The United Kingdom is particularly exposed because it imports nearly every vehicle it sells. Domestic production has collapsed. In 1972, British factories produced 1.9 million cars. In 2023, that number was below 800,000, and the models being built here are overwhelmingly premium and electric. The Nissan Qashqai, the Mini Electric, the Jaguar I-Pace. Nothing in that segment that the average working household can actually afford. But even that does not capture the full scale of what is coming. The supply chain disruption behind the scenes makes the showroom problem look minor. Oil does not just power cars, it makes them. Plastics, synthetic rubbers, lubricants, seat foams, dashboard components, wire insulation, tire compounds. A modern small car contains roughly 270 kilograms of petroleum-derived materials. When crude prices spike, every one of those components costs more. And because small cars use many of the same components as large cars but generate a fraction of the revenue, the per-unit cost increase hits them disproportionately hard. In 2022, the average material cost increase per vehicle due to oil-linked commodity inflation was approximately £900. For a Range Rover Sport, that is less than 2% of the sale price. For a Dacia Sandero, it is nearly 8%. The maths is brutal, and it only moves in one direction. And this compounds with another problem that nobody in the industry wants to discuss openly: battery costs. The supposed solution to the oil shock is electrification. Build electric small cars. Eliminate the fuel dependency. Simple in theory, impossible in practice at current prices. A lithium-ion battery pack for a small electric vehicle with a 200-mile range costs between £6,000 and £8,000. That is almost half the retail price of the petrol car it replaces. No amount of government subsidy can close that gap at scale. The plug-in car grant was scrapped in 2022. There is nothing replacing it. So the small car buyer faces a perfect trap. Petrol is too expensive, electric is unaffordable, and the manufacturers have already decided not to solve the problem because solving it does not generate shareholder value. Meanwhile, the second-hand market is absorbing all the pressure. Prices for used small cars in the United Kingdom rose by 37% between 2020 and 2023. A 10-year-old Fiesta that would have cost £2,000 in 2019 now sells for £3,500. Depreciation has effectively reversed. Older cars are holding value not because they are desirable, but because there is nothing affordable to replace them with. That is not a healthy market. That is a market in crisis. And here is what should concern anyone watching this who depends on a car to get to work, to take their children to school, to live a normal life in a country where public transport outside London is unreliable at best and non-existent at worst. Nobody is coming to fix this. The government's zero-emission vehicle mandate requires that 80% of new car sales be electric by 2030. That target assumes affordable electric cars will exist. They do not. Not yet. And every indication from the industry suggests they will not exist in time. Stellantis has said publicly that it cannot produce a profitable electric small car for under £25,000 before 2028. Volkswagen has given a similar timeline. Renault is slightly more optimistic, but has offered no binding commitment. 2028. That is years away. And between now and then, every oil price spike, every supply chain disruption, every new regulation will push the small car further towards extinction. James Hargreaves put it simply when I spoke to him. He said that his father drove a Hillman Imp. His grandfather drove an Austin 7. Every generation of his family had an affordable small car. His children will not. Not because the technology does not exist, because nobody wants to sell it to them. He is right. And that is the oil shock nobody is talking about. Not the price at the pump. The price of being priced out entirely. The small British car survived 2 world wars, 3 recessions, the collapse of British Leyland, and the decimation of the domestic motor industry. It did not survive the spreadsheet. It did not survive the moment when manufacturers realized they could make more money selling fewer cars at higher prices to wealthier buyers. The oil shock is real. The fuel costs are real. The emissions regulations are real. But they are not the cause. They are the convenient narrative wrapped around a decision that was made years ago in boardrooms in Stuttgart and Paris and Detroit. The decision to let the small car die. And when it is gone, it will not come back. Because the factories will have retooled. The supply chains will have restructured. The engineers who knew how to build a cheap, reliable, efficient small combustion car will have retired or moved on. The institutional knowledge will be lost. And the gap in the market will simply become the market. If this changed how you think about the car sitting on your drive right now, share this video. Not for the algorithm. For the families in Coventry and Sunderland and Ellesmere Port who already know what is coming and cannot do a thing about it.